gonna ask you kind of a personal question, but how many times a day are you pooping? If it's not 1 to 3 times a day, we've gotta have a talk. You may not know this because it's really not something that people talk about with their friends, but constipation is really, really common. Let me tell you, there are a whole lot of backed up women out there. And by the end of this video, you're gonna have some really effective tools that you can use to help relieve constipation. As a nutritional therapist, I've worked with hundreds of women to help them overcome constipation. And these are women who have felt like they've tried everything. They've done all the diets, they've done probiotics, they've seen naturopaths, they've seen their doctors, they've done colonoscopies, things come back normal, but they're still backed up. And that's where I come in. So instead of just throwing a probiotic at the problem, we actually look at why they are constipated in the first place, and then we address that issue. Before we get into how to relieve constipation, make sure you hit that notification bell and subscribe, and leave a comment down below with any questions that come up for you. So I used to struggle with constipation really badly, and I have been through it all with my gut. I struggled with constipation, diarrhea, alternating constipation and diarrhea, and I saw my doctor, and of course I was diagnosed with IBS, and I was basically told, we don't know why your gut is so messed up. We don't know why you're constipated. Here, just take some Metamucil. Good luck. Let us know how it goes. And that was about it. Now I no longer struggle with IBS at all because I've learned how to address the root cause. But when I was in the midst of it, it was hard to know what to eat, what not to eat. I would have to unbutton my pants sometimes after eating because I was so bloated. It was physically uncomfortable to even wear a pair of jeans. I had to plan my outfits around how my stomach might react to food. And I just felt really bloated and uncomfortable and ugly and gross all the time. And it feels weird to say that I felt ugly because I was bloated, but if you struggle with IBS and if you struggle with constipation, you probably know what I mean. You don't want to be looked at, you don't want to be touched, you don't want to be talked to. You just kind of want to lay on the couch and do nothing and watch TV and scroll on your phone and be alone and not socialize and just hope that at some point you're gonna have to go to the bathroom. So I get it, I've been there, and I'm telling you, this is something that can be fixed. First, let's go over what constipation actually is. So constipation is technically defined as having less than 3 bowel movements per week. But in my opinion, having only 3 bowel movements per week is really not ideal. I've worked with hundreds of women, and I can tell you from experience, across the board, all these women feel their best when they are going at least once per day. Constipation also doesn't have to only mean infrequent stools. It can also mean stools that are hard or difficult to pass. So stools that are too hard, too small, like little pebbles that are hard to pass, too infrequent, or when you have a feeling of incomplete evacuation, those would all fall under the umbrella of constipation. And why is constipation even a problem? Well, for one, it's obviously super uncomfortable. I probably don't even really need to say much about that because if you're here and watching this video, you probably know how uncomfortable it is to be backed up for days on end. Like, it is not fun. Not only is it uncomfortable, but it can be really bad for your health. Your body has multiple ways that it detoxes, and your bowel movements are one of the major ways. When you go to the bathroom, you're essentially getting rid of the waste that your body doesn't want anymore. So if you're not going to the bathroom very often, you're basically letting all this waste pile up in your body that should otherwise be leaving your body. And something that people don't often think of is that your gut and your hormones are really connected. So if you have gut issues, you probably also have hormone issues. And if you have hormone issues, you're also probably going to have gut issues too. Almost all the women that I've worked with who have struggled with constipation have also struggled with PMS. They experience bloating, constipation, mood swings, hormonal acne, water retention, insomnia, and they struggle to lose weight. One of the reasons for this is estrogen recirculation. Estrogen is a hormone that your body makes that really serves some important functions. It contributes to bone health, skin health, it helps your cardiovascular system, it gives you your curves, and it helps regulate your mood. It is a really great hormone, and you'd feel terrible without it. But your body only likes a certain amount of estrogen. If you have too much estrogen in your system, which is really common in both men and women these days, you'll start to notice that you're really bloated, you're retaining water, you're fatigued, you feel like your metabolism has slowed down, you have PMS, you get headaches, you might have fibroids in the uterus and or the breast tissue, and your periods are painful and or heavy. But what does any of this have to do with constipation? Well, your body regulates and processes estrogen in your gut and in your liver. Your gut and your liver basically work to take estrogen and put it in a box and then put it on a conveyor belt so it's nicely packaged in this little box, and it's going to be neatly escorted out of your body through your stools. Obviously, that's a huge oversimplification, but that's essentially how it works. Your body goes to work, it processes the estrogen, and then you poop it out. Otherwise, as is the case with constipation, that estrogen doesn't get the chance to leave, and you end up recirculating it in your body. And that's when you can really start to notice those symptoms that I mentioned before, like hormonal acne, bloating, water retention, stubborn weight, anxiety, insomnia, fatigue, PMS, PMDD, headaches, and fibroids. Obviously, constipation is a really big deal, and you do not want to be going through life constipated. There are a number of causes of constipation, and two of the really big ones are slowed metabolism and living in a state of stress. When your metabolism slows down, which is really common amongst women, especially because we tend to go on these really restrictive, low-calorie diets, we overwork ourselves in the gym, everything slows down, including your digestion. So a lot of times you'll feel tired, sluggish, you'll have cold hands and feet, and you'll struggle to go to the bathroom regularly. And then with stress, you need to be in a calm, relaxed, rest and digest state in order to digest your food well and keep things moving. So when you're stressed out, you're not going to be digesting well. Everything's going to slow down and get backed up. And of course, you can see the opposite happen where you might get stressed out and it causes really urgent loose stools, but majority of the time, for most people, it's going to cause constipation. Imagine you're being chased by a bear and you narrowly escaped, and then someone was like, hey, go sit on the toilet right now and go to the bathroom. You probably would not be able to go to the bathroom because you just escaped being chased by a bear, and all the blood and energy in your body has gone to your eyes, your brain, your muscles to help you get away. The energy and blood in your body is not going towards digestion. So you can imagine when you're really stressed like that, you're not going to be able to go to the bathroom. And I know we don't get chased by bears on a regular basis in this world, but we are under stress, and your body doesn't know the difference between being chased by a bear or, having a hard day at work. If you're stressed, energy is going to managing the stress. There's no blood or energy being focused on your digestion, so stress is a big one. If you find that you're constipated often, what you really need to do is address your metabolism, your hormones, your stress levels, and the function of your gut. But today we're going to talk about some quick fixes just to keep you comfortable in the meantime, while you're hopefully at the same time addressing those bigger root causes. Tip number 1 is hydration. Most people don't drink enough water, and that can make going to the bathroom really difficult. You have digestive juices that help keep things moving and keep things flowing. And notice that I use the word juices. You can't have everything all dried up in your body and expect it to work well. So if you're not sipping water throughout the day, make sure you do that. And it can also help to add a pinch of salt to your water instead of just drinking plain water. Tip number 2 is to use a squatty potty or a shoebox when you go to the bathroom. Sitting with your feet elevated off the ground and putting your knees a bit higher than your hips can put you in a more optimal position to go to the bathroom. That can help you strain less and help you empty your bowels more completely. If you have really sluggish digestion and you don't even have the urge to go, this may not help you very much, but if you do have the urge but it's difficult to get it out, this can be really helpful. Tip number 3 is to do some breathing exercises or meditation to get your mind and body in a relaxed state. Remember what we talked about earlier. If your body is tense and stressed, you're not going to have good digestion, and that's going to lead to constipation. So as you relax your mind and your body and you release tension, your digestion is better equipped to start working properly. Tip number 4 is to drink a few sips of beet kvass, which you can usually find at health food stores. Beets are full of nutrients that your digestive system needs, and they can help thin your bile, which is a fluid that acts like a lubricant for your stool. You don't want to have thick, sludgy bile, so adding beets to your diet can be really great for constipation. Tip number 5 is to increase your activity level if it's low. Taking a walk after you eat can be really, really helpful for your digestion. It doesn't need to be a long or strenuous walk, but just going around the block a couple times can be really helpful. Exercise helps with constipation because it reduces the amount of time that your food sits in your large intestine. The longer your food sits in your large intestine, the harder and drier it becomes, and dry, hard stools are difficult to pass. Tip number 6 is to drink prune juice or eat dried prunes. Prunes have high amounts of sorbitol, which is a type of sugar alcohol that can help relieve constipation. But make sure you go slow with prunes because prunes can have a really strong effect, and you don't want to go to the opposite end of the spectrum and be running to the bathroom all day. Tip number 7 is to make sure that you're getting enough fiber in your diet. Around 20 grams of fiber per day is a great place to aim for. This sounds like an obvious one, but most people are actually eating really low fiber diets. Breakfast usually looks like a bagel and cream cheese, lunch is some sort of takeout, Dinner maybe some sort of takeout as well, or maybe it's like pasta or meat and rice. And those foods are not great sources of fiber, and it can be really hard to get enough. So start paying attention to how much fiber you're getting per day, and if you decide to increase it, also make sure that you're getting enough water and hydration throughout the day as well. If you start eating more fiber but you're not doing enough water, that can make constipation worse. So you always want to do fiber and water together. You don't want to just increase your fiber and forget about water, because if you're not drinking enough, like I said, it's going to make it worse. So you want to make sure that if you increase your fiber, increase your water intake as well. So to summarize what we just covered, make sure you're hydrating, potentially with a pinch of salt in your water. Use a squatty potty, manage your stress, try some beet kvass, stay active, drink prune juice, and pay attention to your daily fiber intake. And also remember that constipation is almost always a metabolism issue, a thyroid issue, and a gut function issue. So these tips can be really helpful in the moment when you're constipated, but you probably have some deeper underlying issues that really need to be addressed. All right, make sure you subscribe with the notification bell so that you get all the new content that's coming every week. And if you like this video, you're really gonna like my free hormone and metabolism checklist. If you're feeling constipated and you're not sure if your hormones or your metabolism might be contributing, or if your gut is in a good place, this checklist is really gonna help you make sense of that. And I will put a link to that below in the description box. All right, I will see you in the next video. Bye.